take a quick pause here because we've got another special guest on the line, joining us live on the phone, Kristen Koppers. Kristen, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you?
Good, I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And you have a unique perspective, Kristen, because as an educator, and you've been, working and paying attention to these school board races. Kristen, just wanted to get your thoughts on sort of the current climate.
Well, the culture and climate in school districts across Illinois, because I've talked to a lot of school board candidates and parents and stakeholders for years, none of us really saw any of this coming, or at least how the downside is, until COVID hit. But the fact is that I've seen the decline in education probably for the last 5 years, just the way that things were going. And it's hard to see it as an educator because you're trying to do what's best for the children. But ever since COVID, and everyone wants to blame it on COVID, we can't blame it on COVID. It didn't make the kids any dumber. It just interrupted the education. So we can't blame COVID for the scores being down. It's just ridiculous to say that. And so when I ran for regional superintendent last year in the primary, I was going to originally run for school board in my son's district this year, but I have three great people that were behind me when I was running. And so these three great people are running for Minooka 201, and I'm going to let them pursue it, and then we'll see what happens in 2 years.
Kristen, you talk about 5 years ago when you started to see the decline. In your opinion, and I'm going to ask our guests too that are joining me in studio their thoughts, but what do you think it was 5 years ago where we began to see this downward trend?
It was more of just not just passing the kids, but they get a 50% on an assignment, even if they wrote one word. The fact that you're giving them half credit for something that they didn't do is now in their mind that they can just pass. And I really am scared with the children that would be graduating across the state this year because they don't have the skills needed, the communication skills, as one of your guests had mentioned earlier. They don't understand how to write emails. They even asked me last year, they need a finance class on how to pay bills and checks. Like, they don't get that stuff, and they're not ready to be in the real world.
They are not ready to be in the real world, and just to see the decline in test scores in a school district like Batavia, for example, is absolutely shocking. You'd think, you'd see these sort of decline in student test scores in the Chicago public school system, right, where it's expected, but to see this wave happen in the suburbs and across the state is really shocking.
It really is. And this year, my husband and I have decided we pulled our son out of public education. He's in private. And he is thriving so much. Like, I know one of your guests had mentioned that she never saw any work from her son. When my son was in Minooka, I didn't see one homework assignment from him. And he got straight A's. Now, he's a smart kid, but I've never seen one homework assignment for him to get straight A's. We put him into a private school this year. He's talked about this school so much, about what he's learning, that I've never heard this information in the last 5 years in the public school system.
Unbelievable. Kristen Koppers, thank you so much for calling in, and hope to have you here in studio sometime as well, so we can continue this conversation even after the April 4th election.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.